Last night we got into Asheville, North Carolina from the Great Smoky Mountains, and this is actually our second time visiting the city. Back in 2020, we came here in our little van, and that was actually at the start of our USA road trip, which meant we were still keeping to a very tight budget. And so that kind of meant that we missed out on a lot of the experiences we really wanted to do. And I think that just after traveling the world and also the US for the past 2 years, we started to learn that you can't always cheap out because you're gonna miss out on some really awesome once-in-a-lifetime experiences. And so that is why we've come back to the city to kind of give it a redemption round and to do those experiences that we missed out last time. So we're not gonna worry about the money, we're just gonna go and have a good time and eat some really good food. We've just pulled into the parking lot of one of the Biscuit Head locations, and this might be one of the most popular breakfast slash brunch places here in Asheville. And we've been told that normally there's a line going out the door, but I think it's our lucky day because from where we're parked, I don't see a line just yet, so we might have to hurry in. But as lovers of delicious Southern home cooking, of course we had to give it a try. And I'm really excited to see the size of these biscuits because I've been told that they're kind of like the size of cat heads. I decided to ask the server for their recommendations just because we've never been here before, and they recommended the mimosa fried chicken biscuit and also the filthy animal, which as you can see will probably put us straight into a sleep coma, but I'm very excited to try it. So something about the biscuits, cat head style biscuits are actually a southern term for drop style biscuits that are around the size of a cat's head. So what I had heard previously before coming here was correct. All right, let's dig in. This looks amazing.
First bite, you want to try it?
Yeah. Should I start with the filthy animal? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, oh my gosh. That is southern food right there. So I believe in this one, there's like this fried chicken that's completely smothered in this sauce, and this very moist and crumbly biscuit with some cheesy egg and bacon. There's like everything in there, and the combo is glorious.
Poached egg on top.
Yeah. Ooh, so whereas the filthy animal is more on the savory side, this one has like a hint of sweet, and it's very autumnal. And I think it's kind of like a sweet potato, maybe it's like the sweet potato gravy that they're famous for. Come on, Chad, one last bite.
I'm slowing down like crazy.
He said, oh, like 5 times now.
Oh. So now that we're nice and well fed, we are now moving on to the main event of our time here in Asheville. We are going foraging. There is this local legend, his name is Alan Muscat, and back in 1995 he started a business called No Taste Like Home. You can sign up for these tours, and his team, they will take you out into the wilderness in the surrounding Asheville area, and they will teach you how to forage for mushrooms and berries and what to look out for so that you're able to collect food straight from the land. And what's really cool is that 24 hours before your tour begins, they send you the location, because the location of where you need to meet is constantly changing. So we're heading north about 25 minutes from Asheville to our meeting point.
So right now we are choosing out a basket, and each one has a little paintbrush and a knife. I kind of like the little one.
I'll take the square one.
The square one? This one?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, this one's cute. So we have found some oyster mushrooms growing on this beautiful tree, and I'm gonna harvest my first one. We've relocated over to a nice little meadow, and we are on the hunt for onion grass and alehook. So, all right, I see tons and tons of alehook right here. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's named alehook just because it is kind of like in the shape of a hoof. When we were tasting it with our guide, she was telling us to like crinkle it up and just smell it. And it's extremely aromatic. And then we had a little nibble, and like I couldn't really put my mind to what it tasted like. And then she noted that it kind of reminds her of oregano and thyme, like something in between. And I was like, yes, it's exactly that. So right over here, there's a plant that blends in almost perfectly with the grass. This is onion grass. It actually has a lot of different names. When you take a little bite of it, it tastes like a combination of onion and garlic. And this is really interesting because I grew up playing with these as a kid. They're like all over my yard, and I would pretend that they're onions because if you actually pull it out, they look like tiny little onions at the bottom. And I never knew that you could actually eat them. And so now I'm really excited because I can probably go back to my childhood backyard and just harvest a ton of these and put it in soups and all sorts of fun things.
So as we're heading into the forest, our guide was just telling us that poison ivy is typically found close to where there's been human intervention. And if you don't know, poison ivy is poisonous to humans. If you touch it, you kind of get a rash, and that's from the oil on the plant. But once you go farther into the forest, apparently you don't see poison ivy as much. So she was calling it the guardian of the forest because it kind of protects the forest from humans coming in and invading. Claire's having a field day.
I want to pick it all.
I have to say, our guide is so flipping smart. She could talk about pretty much every single plant that we can see. She has something to say about it. She knows the name, she knows the smell. It is amazing how much is out here when you just look at a little bit of a closer level.
So Chad found this berry and he was very excited about it. He went up to our guide, he's like, what is this? And she's like, oh, that's slightly poisonous. And of course, Chad would be the one to find a poisonous berry. She was saying that you have to eat like tons and tons of it for it to like really make an effect on your body, but don't eat these, kids. After foraging for the last 3 hours, we finally get to taste some of our findings. So we are having the oyster mushroom and also the stinging nettle. I'm so excited. First of all, wow, the mushroom is so tasty. And also I want to note that the stinging nettle is apparently 50 times more nutritious than the kale, which is already very nutritious.
For dessert, we have some North American persimmons, and apparently to find the best one, you have to look on the ground where they look kind of smushed.
Yeah. Cheers.
What do y'all think about that persimmon?
Whoa, that's so good.
That is so
really
good. Was it a bountiful harvest, Claire?
Very bountiful harvest. Everything that we found today, I'm bringing home with me, and we actually have a special big bag right here that we're gonna bring over to a local restaurant. They're gonna cook it up for us tomorrow night, and I just can't wait to see what they make out of the ingredients that we found today.
So I had expectations going into the tour, but they were blown out of the water completely, because I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit more basic level, but there was so much information that I had no idea about all these plants and how it's all connected, and our guide just did such an amazing job. And I feel like I could just keep coming back to this tour and learn so much more because it's endless, because everything just keeps on changing every few weeks, even because the seasons and all the plants are constantly changing.
We just went to drop off our finds at the restaurant we're gonna be dining at tomorrow night. For tonight, I've decided to come over to Leo's House of Thirst, I actually chose out this eatery because of their beautiful presentation. So we just got our appetizers, and just look how pretty this is. Like, it's a work of art, and that's why I wanted to come here.
So for our appetizers, we decided to get deviled eggs as well as chicken liver mousse, which you then spread onto these little toasted pieces of bread. Kind of like chips, honestly.
For our entrees, we decided to share two different things. So we had a steak tartare, which we already demolished. And then we also got this beautiful squid ink pasta. And the last time we had squid ink pasta, it was over in Venice. So it's been a little bit, and I'm really excited to give this one a try. It looks like it's completely smothered with cheese and breadcrumbs. From our Airbnb, we walked 15 minutes over to the French Broad Chocolate Lounge, and it's apparently very famous. I think we're gonna get some dessert and maybe pick up a couple things for our friends.
Who was the one person who did it?
They had so many chocolatey options, from ice cream to little like chocolate treats. But we ended up getting their quintessential chocolate cake just because it felt like the right decision. And then I also let Chad get a coffee just because we're treating ourselves.
Yeah, I just got a drip coffee.
It looks like the perfect like diner coffee with the bubbles on top and this generic white mug.
Love it.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good coffee.
Good. All right, let's try this cake. Putting my fork into it, I can already tell it's very moist because it's sticking all together and it's very soft cutting into it.
The icing on the top of it, I can already tell, seems like a chocolate bar. Kind of like a fudge.
Yeah, maybe like a ganache.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Wow.
That's good cake.
Moist as can be. I always get scared ordering chocolate cakes because they're either like super moist and delicious like this one, or they're very dry and just like not worth the money. But this one is worth the money.
Well, that was an exciting first day here in Asheville, but I think we're gonna get some shut-eye and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, guys. Before we tell you where we are this morning, I wanna say, can we just take a moment to look at Claire? She is looking fantastic today. She's got bubble hair.
Well, today we are starting off with the corner kitchen. I feel like we've been eating this whole time, but we just love to eat when we travel. So we're gonna go to a farm to table restaurant, and I think we're going to 2 in total today, but we're gonna start with the corner kitchen. I decided to get the Benedict du jour, the Benedict of the day, and it looks absolutely amazing. And then we also got a Reuben. And fun little story for you. The first time I ever saw Chad, I was actually ordering a Reuben at our school's diner. And I saw him for the first time in a booth. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I recognize him because I had seen him before on Instagram. And he didn't know me at that time, but that was my first sight of Chad ever.
So because the Biltmore Estate is so large, we actually are running a little bit late. As we were driving through, it just took a lot more time than we expected. So we have a tour of the estate at 1 o'clock. It is currently like 12:57. So I know we're gonna make it, but a little bit of a hectic start. But I'm so excited to be here because this property so far is beautiful. As we enter the estate, I want to share a little bit of the history of this place with you all. So George Vanderbilt created Biltmore Estate in the span of 6 years. Unlike many of the homes in the US, this house was modeled after 3 different 16th century French chateaux, which is why on the outside it looks like it belongs in Europe. The house features 4 acres of floor space, 250 rooms, 33 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces. Over 1,000 tradesmen were hired to construct the house, and they even built their very own railroad to transport supplies onto the property. There were so many unique touches for its time, like having electricity wired way before electricity was available, or having an indoor pool in the basement. We've been walking around the entire estate and we've made it down to the basement where they have honestly one of the creepiest swimming pools we've seen. It's completely underground. Pretty interesting. I think it was also heated. The grand opening of the Biltmore Estate was on Christmas Eve in the winter of 1895, and nowadays visitors from all over can come to Asheville and tour the home. We just finished walking through the Biltmore house and it was such a fun experience. Honestly, you got to go through a lot more of the house than I expected. And as you went inside, going through the different rooms, I really did feel like it was a home in the end. After going through a lot of places in France and during our travels, going here, it felt like a brand new house because it's only like 100 years old.
At the beginning of this year, we were watching this show called Downton Abbey, and I think it gave us a lot more insight as to what was going on in a home like this. And the audio guide was one of my favorite parts because you got to enter in a little number based on what room you're entering. And it would tell you the story from so many different points of view. And also, I love that they added in sound effects because it just made it feel like you were there in the moment with the people living in this home. So overall, it was a very immersive experience, but I think one of my top favorite things were the fireplaces and just how grand and magnificent they were. I think fireplaces just bring so much coziness to a home, and I wish that we could have a fireplace in our house just because there's something so special about it.
Yeah, it is really nice. Also, having all of the Christmas decorations really upped the production of the house. But because the Biltmore property is absolutely massive, we are now going to stroll through the gardens and then go get our complimentary drink. So there are days in life where you can wake up and you feel extremely jealous of others. And today is a day that I am not jealous of Mr. Vanderbilt and all of his wealth and the beauty of the land that he owns, because I have the greatest gift of all, and she is right here. And we get to spend so much amazing time together. And although we get on each other's nerves, having days like this really reminds you of why we are doing what we're doing. And so I'm just feeling very grateful.
That's true. I think we oftentimes forget how much time we get to spend with each other and how many other couples out there wish they could be spending every waking moment with each other. So I am very grateful for that as well.
We are now walking into the winery. We're about an hour early because we could only get a reservation for 6, and it's 5 o'clock right now. And I guess we're underground where they would keep all of the wine, and they've dressed it up with all these lights. Very beautiful, very magical.
Yes, if you didn't know, you can actually get a complimentary drink with your entrance ticket. And so I'm really excited to try one of their wines because I guess it was grown right here, or at least processed right here. We are currently at the complimentary wine tasting, and we actually get to try 5 different wines, which is way more than what I expected. So now we are trying to decide which 5 we want to try. So I think a wise option is simply just to choose the 5 most expensive ones because maybe it's the highest quality and, I don't know, just the best of the best. So we're gonna do, I believe, 1 white, 1 rosé, and then 3 reds. We have one final stop on our Asheville trip, and that is to this restaurant called Rhubarb, and it's also farm to table. So you might recall me coming in here and dropping off a special package with the findings that we had from our foraging tour. And tonight they're gonna prepare that for a complimentary appetizer, and then we're gonna get some entrees to go with it. And I just can't wait to see what they make from whatever we found yesterday. We gave them the oyster mushrooms, the stinging nettle, and then also some chestnuts. So definitely a bit of a challenge, but I think they're gonna make something amazing. So the chef just brought out our appetizer, and she actually like blew it completely out of the water. I wasn't expecting this at all. So this kind of felt like the chef's table or Chopped or Master Chef, whatever those little game shows are, where you bring a basket of ingredients and they have to make something really interesting out of it. And what she did was she made a pasta out of the stinging nettle. She stuffed it with the oyster mushrooms as well as some goat cheese, and then using those chestnuts, she made this delicious cream to like drizzle over it. And she also grated it and put the chestnuts on top as like a little garnish. But this is amazing. Like, this is more incredible than what I could ever imagine. Well, I decided to get the steak cooked medium rare, and Chad decided to get the pork loin cooked medium rare as well. We're gonna dig in. The presentation is just beautiful, and the aromas, oh, they're so good.
The past 2 days have been so much fun here in Asheville. We have eaten some amazing food. Seeing the Biltmore today was also just incredible. And honestly, all of this would not be able to happen without the support of our Patreon supporters. So we just wanted to give a huge shout out to them, because we would not have been able to take this break that we've desperately needed for our physical and mental health without you guys. So thank you so much. And as always, in case you guys are new around here, Claire and I will be traveling to 50 countries around the world over the next few years. So definitely hit subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time with another wellness video somewhere close by. All right, see you guys.